Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in, Andy here. In my last video I mentioned that lately I've had a little bit of a retro tech interest and have been just perusing eBay looking at old tech to buy, and I just thought I would make a video sharing some of the latest items I've picked up. So I'm going to start with one that's not too interesting because I haven't really done anything with it yet, so there's not that much to show other than I have installed Windows on it. But this one is another old ThinkPad. So let's go ahead and tilt the camera down so you guys can actually get a view of what I'm talking about. So this is a ThinkPad T510, and in my last video I showed an R60 I got and sort of explained the interest in ThinkPads that I've had lately due to the one I got at work. Just gone a little bit ThinkPad crazy. So this one, actually, I'm a lot more pleased with it. This isn't an unboxing. I already took it out to make sure it wasn't damaged because this one looked basically perfect in the video. And as we can see, it is in basically perfect condition. So this T510, which is one of the really early i-series ThinkPads, I paid a total of $83 for. This one was actually in auction form rather than in buy it now, which I'd been using before. As we can see, no damaged bezel on this one. Everything nice and clean. No scratches on the bottom. Really in great shape. It looks like it did not get much use at all. So that's in really good shape. So if we pop this open, we'll see the keyboard also in really good shape. So the specs on this guy are pretty low end. I think that's maybe part of the reason why it went so cheap. Like I said, got it for $83, but the inside, it looks like it's almost unused. Really, I've gotten it a little bit dirtier just installing Windows 7 and getting Windows 7 fully up to date, which takes freaking forever. Let's try out the fingerprint sensor. That's like the one non-bottom of the barrel item on this notebook was the fingerprint sensor, but it has the i5, the lower end i5, the 2.1 gigahertz i5. It came with 2 gigs of RAM. I had an extra 2 gig stick of DDR3 laying around, so I dropped that in, so it's at 4 gigs of RAM now. And it came with a 320 gig hard drive, so I swapped that out for a 1 terabyte that I had sitting around. So really good value. I'm very pleased. Everything, as you can see on the keyboard, is in really good shape. Everything works. The fingerprint sensor worked very quickly, so yeah, I'm very pleased with this ThinkPad because it's in great shape. And so since the R60 got damaged in shipping, which is really disappointing, and it has that sort of flimsy hinge, I think I'm probably going to end up using this T510 as my primary system for both Windows XP and Windows 7. So I might keep it at 4 gigs, or I might throw 8 in because Windows XP is fine, just ignoring the extra RAM. And it would be nice to have, 8 for Windows 7 stuff. So we'll move on to the next, really the star of this show in terms of my most recent eBay pickups, or the one that has me most excited since it came in. This is the first digital camera I ever owned. Well, not this one specifically, but this is the same model of the first one I ever owned. This is an HP Photosmart 635. So I got one of these back in 2003 at CompUSA back in good old Waco, Texas, where I grew up. And very excited at the time because I was super interested in photography, and obviously as a computer nerd and someone who had already pirated Photoshop by that point, I knew the potential of digital photography, so I was super stoked to get a digital camera. This is a 2.1 megapixel camera. Let's pop the lens cap off. By the way, I paid $9.95 for this, plus I think literally only $5 for shipping, and it's in wonderful condition. The front is in great shape, the back is in great shape, the bottom has this pretty rough looking scratch right there, but hey, who cares? That's like the one part that you're not going to look at anyway. Everything else, the lens is in good shape, it's powered on. Everything on it works, everything's in good shape. It is the lens extending when you power it on, or when you zoom in, and we'll get a little zooming action going. It is really noisy, it's a lot noisier than a modern camera, so that's a bit disconcerting. If we flip around to the back, we'll see we have all of our buttons. You'll notice that even though it's on, the LCD screen isn't on because by default that is off. I presume to save power because I took this out yesterday for its first little trip, and yeah, I think I got maybe 30 pictures out of it before it was giving me low battery warnings. And of course on these older cameras, when you get the low battery, you can always just turn it off and then turn it back on, and that'll always give you a little bit more juice. I don't know the physics behind that, but it always seems to work for a while at least. So yeah, the battery life not great, but there's that button for the camera that puts the screen on. Right below that, you've got your play button. I don't think I have any pictures. Just a picture of darkness, I think. Oh no, that was some video I accidentally took earlier. So that's exciting, your play button. And then there's, interestingly, a print button and an email button. So I haven't messed with those yet. I never used them back in 2003, 2004, 2005 while I was using this camera originally. So I might look into that, but since I didn't use them, I don't have a ton of nostalgia for that kind of feature. Let's see if we can get back into camera mode. So, we just took a picture with the flash. So it does reset all of your preferences every time. Actually, it's asking me anytime I take the batteries out to change the date. So I think the CMOS battery in this guy's dead, so I might look into replacing that. Yeah, there's lots of small Phillips head screws around, so I might be able to get into it. But yeah, so let's turn that flash off, because one of the big just using it differences between this and a modern camera is how long you have to wait in between taking pictures. So we'll zoom out and see if you can actually view the screen. Because if we take a picture, it's focus distance pretty far, and you'll see it just takes its time. Gives you the option to delete it if you want to, but yeah, and then you're back. So you can't really take a few quick pictures. I enjoy taking sort of burst shots, especially, depending on what you're shooting. You might want to make sure that you get a few shots in when you're handheld, and hope that one of them is really nice and sharp. And you can't really do that on this. But like I was mentioning, I did take it out yesterday to the Merry Meeting Bay, which is an area where the Kennebec and Androscoggin rivers meet, come together in Maine. My first time there, I really just found out it existed because I was looking for a place to take the cameras out to catch a sunset. So I took the Photosmart 635 out. I also took out, may as well bring it in even though it's not retro tech, my also new my Panasonic G7. Which is a very nice camera. I got this to replace it because I'm having some problems with the shutter button on my good old Panasonic Lumix FZ1000, but it still works great for video. So as you can see, I'm putting in some pictures that I took both with the Panasonic G7, which is a modern Micro Four Thirds, pretty high quality camera, and also this much older, this 15 years old HP Photosmart 635. And as you can see, there's a pretty big difference in quality, but there are a few situations where, this almost looks like a not too bad, smartphone camera. The resolution is very noticeable, especially when you blow these up. But there are a few scenes where I got more dynamic range than I was expecting. Obviously, the quality really pales in comparison to even most smartphones these days. But it's totally usable, and it's fun to just see how far we've come technologically when it comes to digital photography. So yeah, that's really all I have today. I'm sure I'll be making some more videos soon. Actually, there's one other item. I'm going to be doing a few more videos on sort of handheld computers. I did recently pick up a Palm Tungsten TX. This is a much later Palm OS device than the handspring visor Neo that I picked up recently. So I might do some on this. I haven't really messed around with it a whole lot yet, other than just syncing it to the computer once to throw some apps on it. But we'll do that, and I'm also picking up a Pocket PC, which I anticipate will be coming in sometime this week. So there'll be some stuff coming up on handheld soon, and hopefully we'll have some fun comparisons and some interesting things to try with that. So, thanks for watching, and if there's any specific types of older tech you're interested in seeing me cover, leave a comment below and I'll see what I can do. Have a good one.